Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. As always, I'm Vinny, along with my co-host Kim, for this
Hi,
look
everybody.
into the Emmy Award-winning series, The Bay. Kim, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, my Thanksgiving was great. It was very nice. No, I got to go back to Buffalo, spend a little time with my family, eat a lot of pie. Worked out great.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, it was good. At least you got to have some downtime, relax with family, and
Right.
get to. Although you did have you always seem to have a rough travel situation.
I think it's because I made a lateral move weather-wise when I moved from Buffalo to Chicago.
Right.
But the problem is, whatever weather that Chicago sees, Buffalo sees a couple days later. So
Right.
I ended up getting caught in a crazy spin cycle of sorts when it came to the snow that was happening in Chicago, which was pretty significant. We got quite a bit here. And then all of that storm was kind of heading Buffalo's way right around the time I was supposed to be flying back. So it wound up being better off just delaying, switching out your flight free of charge, just in anticipation. And yeah, it always gets a little bit hairy. But weather is weather. You can't control it, can't do anything about it. And at least I got back here, safe, sound, everything was good. But that snow was not playing around, and I heard it's supposed to be it's supposed to be kind of a snowy, kind of rough winter.
Okay.
For Midwest.
I love snow.
I'm like a kid, leading up to Christmas, I admit it. I'm like a little kid. I love the snow. When it gets to February, that's when I'm kind of over it.
Yes, I understand that completely. Yeah, and actually on Saturday, Real American Freestyle 03 event 03 was happening in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena, and they were mentioning the snow all night. So they, but they still packed 6,000 people in there, even with the weather. So, and then we did our freestyling on Real American Freestyle Sunday night at 8:00 Eastern, and that is now on YouTube and also on the RSS feed as well. So either way, hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving out there. We did have an episode because, we're going to keep it on there no matter what. I do want to say thank you to everybody out there. First of all, if you're watching this on YouTube, and why not, you should be, you should see the little box with the $sign in there saying super thanks. You can now go ahead and send us super thanks and support the show, whether it's a super thanks or a super chat. Either way, it'll help us and support us. So go ahead and click that.
Super appreciated.
Yes, exactly. It will be super appreciated. But I do want to thank you guys because you guys did that. You're the new subscribers, and the support that we've had throughout this year has been phenomenal. So again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Secondly, I just got the year in review from Spotify, and again, our Suds and Squared Circle Network is Suds and Squared Circle Media Network, is in the top 20% of all podcasts on Spotify. So again, thank you so much. Our podcast grew leaps and bounds over the year, according to Spotify, and that's only for the RSS feed. So on both fronts, thank you so much for all the support.
Yes, very, very cool stuff to see as we're growing the channel out and trying to do more things. That's just so encouraging and really, really neat.
Yes, and starting in January, we're going to have a lot of new content coming up. Angela and I are working on a couple of different projects that we're looking to bring on, as well as I'm going to be doing a hybrid type of podcast where it's going to be half roundtable talk show, half video game simulation. So it's going to be based around fantasy warfare for wrestling, and taking people from different territories, different eras, and putting them up, talking about what the possible match could look like, and then utilizing WWE 2K and possible content creators for creative superstars to bring that match to what could be to life in a simulated video game environment. So stay tuned for that in January. That'll be starting up, as well as a lot of other content going forward. we're also thinking about doing because of the abrupt ending of the podcastathon last month, we're thinking about doing another one in March. So I'll keep everybody up to date with that as it gets closer. Let's see. Anything else? Oh yeah, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night will be our next premium live event. We're going to be interviewing the incomparable Caleb from the Bay, Mike Manning. We're going to be going live at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Friday, the 5th of December, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Angela and I will definitely be there. Kim's working on her schedule to try to get there. So
I'm going to make it happen. For Mike Manning, I'm going to make it happen.
So either way, we're going to be talking all about his role on the Bay, as well as his role on Beyond the Gates, and what other projects that he has coming up with his production company, Manifest Productions. So stay tuned and make sure to tune in for our next premium live event, which will be tomorrow, Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the channels you're watching this on right now. Okay, so let's get into it. We're going to be talking all about season 7, episode 4.
No time to rest.
Exactly, no time to rest, and there was no time to rest because we're getting right down to it.
Oh yeah. No, for this being a shorter episode, because it did feel short, as you know, some of these have tended to lately. Just the content somehow just feels like, but they pack a lot into that limited runtime for sure. And this episode definitely just kind of was a springboard for a lot of different things that are going to be happening. But really, just setting the tone and setting stuff up, and yeah, it flew by.
It really did. I think I checked the runtime. It was something to be like 21 minutes or something.
Crazy.
Exactly. But either way, we do see a lot of Sara in her coma state, and again she's talking to Lee. So we see Lee in her dream world, and just talking about how she's moved on. Because I saw that she said, "Oh, this is our wedding song," and then Lee recognizes the ring on her finger.
Yeah, I appreciated the way that they handled that, because with Lex, I mean, we love Sara and Lex, and we've seen that relationship out of all the, relationships that Sarah's had. Obviously, well, you don't count Steve, but you kind of do, considering, but Lee is always, we never really saw too much of them aside from in flashback mode. Right. So, but it's clear that, their relationship was obviously, very, important. And this is just really just kind of dialing that in, but also showing that, yes, she has Lex now. She has a future with him that she wants to, has to get back to. But them just like playing up that history and just, reminding us of it, I think is important. And they, I appreciate them taking the opportunity with the coma story to just twine in that piece of her past, because it could easily kind of go forgotten if you think on it. Just because
you're exactly right. Because he had such a big role in Bay the Beginning, right. Because that's when we really saw a lot of Lee, a lot of Brian, and obviously Lee gets blown up by Steve.
Yes.
Which Brian is still sitting in prison for, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah. That whole Brian thing is still kind of hanging out there in the dark. But
it really is
funny that he isn't really. I mean, obviously Marley is brought up and Marley is hinted at in this, but we really don't hear too much about, poor Brian. Kind of worry about that guy.
Well, it's more along the lines of Sara talking to or about her deceased family members.
That's true.
The people that she cares about, because we see Marley again kind of looking over Pete.
Yes.
Holding on to the baby, after he kind of takes over for Sophia and he starts to sing, and that was such a sweet.
Oh gosh, just a lovely moment there. And Christos has a pretty good singing voice.
He does. What can't he do? I mean,
right, exactly. Handsome man holding. And I will say this too. I appreciated seeing a live actual baby That's
Yes.
who has the budget to actually have a baby versus a blanket and some, crying effects in the background, which Days has gotten pretty used to lately. I appreciate the fact that they had the budget for an actual baby who was also adorable. And gazing at Pete adoringly, which I would be gazing up at Christos adorably too if I was, a baby.
I don't know. We're too early for the segment for the segue into the Coaching by Lori ad. So, but what they really did do great, and I applaud them. They must have had a camera on that baby for like hours just to catch.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Caught the baby closing his eyes and kind of
Yeah.
falling asleep into Pete's chest.
Yeah. But Pete making the promise to the baby as well, though, and just it felt like such like a hero's journey kind of moment in this episode where it's just him getting, prepared. Hell, they even reference him going on a journey. Nardo does, and so does Caleb. And it's like, it's all setting up for that. Like our big hero is getting ready to just go and spring into action, find Vivian, find his family. But I just appreciated how they were just like, trying to show us that, leading up to the journey a little bit.
Yes.
We're not getting into the action just yet, but we're prepping you for it, and he's getting ready for it. And it's just, I appreciate that lead up, and then just not just springing into the soapy melodrama of it all, just kind of showing us how they get there.
Exactly. And the thing about it that I see is, well, I mean, if you look at the thumbnail for this episode, is that RJ and Caleb are kind of sitting there getting anxious and antsy about what's going on. Pete's getting debriefed by Nardo and the other detective in the room. And
Caleb especially was, on, just on edge and very, for understandable reasons. You have RJ who's like also obviously concerned, but it wasn't his husband who's like missing. And it was, he's obviously concerned about his family as well. And I appreciate his involvement, but you could tell that Caleb was just on the verge of just completely spiraling out.
Oh, absolutely. And I like RJ kind of being there because he's just, even though he's not a young kid anymore, but at the same time, he's still like 19, 20 in that range where he's still a little bit, as they say, wet behind the ears.
Yes. So, yes. I kind of noticed that he still has the actor being, obviously they, soap opera rapid aging, obviously, they've done that with RJ completely, but he still has these kid-like sort of tendencies. It's kind of a departure from the, during the BLM more serious kind of arc that he had. I don't know, nowadays, and like, I'm going to, jump into action here alongside my uncle. It's almost like he's being written a little bit younger and a little bit more like kid-like and teenage-like, just it's rather that it not to say it's a departure, but it's just kind of interesting seeing like, at the end of the day, he's still a kid.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, he's still, he's just out of high school. He's doing the nursing program at the hospital. Whether he's working there or volunteering, I'm not sure, but you're right. It is a departure because during the BLM thing, and I hate to say it, but he's really the only Black cast member on the show. So
at that moment, yeah. Now we have a few other faces intertwined, but in that particular arc, he definitely was most prominent when it came to that.
So they had to give him some type of maturity level or some just or even some just that teenage angst.
Yeah.
About, jumping in for this cause that he believes in.
Right.
And now it's more along the lines of he's still jumping into a cause, but now it's more along the lines of I'm going to help save my family.
Yes. And it's nice seeing him in kind of not sidekick mode, but just jumping in and knowing that like, I'm going to help my uncle. Like, it's just, I appreciate it. It's similar to when Pete and Daniel were kind of, the buddy cop sort of buddy comedy thing when they were going to Belgium and trying to like rescue, find Sara, thinking she was there, teaming up. I like seeing it happen now with Caleb and with RJ because it's like sharing we get to see a similar sort of arc, but with different characters all kind of in that sandbox together. and it worked.
If you really look at it, the characters of RJ and Caleb combined equals Daniel. It's kind of like the two personality traits of Daniel were split between RJ and Caleb.
Yeah, because you have a little bit of comic relief with RJ. I mean, not a crazy amount because of everything that's gone on, but they do let him kind of play a little bit more. Just he's all excited and happy to be there, a little golden retriever energy, that kind of thing. And then we have, but obviously we've got it with Caleb where he is just, dialed in. What's going on? What's happening? I'm here to help. I want to help. I need to do this. Driven by just the fact that he can't find his husband. So,
and
it's a great team. It's a really good squad. The three of them.
It's our Bay City Avengers.
Exactly.
And it's.
You should get that on a T-shirt.
Yes, exactly. But with Caleb, it's like he's a teacher. So what really can he do? Like that's what we always questioned with Daniel as well. Is what can he really do?
Yeah.
He's the inventor. He's the leader of the gang, the leader of the trip, and he's the one that's going to ultimately save the day.
Mm-hmm. Daniel
was always there as support, and now Caleb's there, and Caleb is coming into the family now as married to Daniel,
right?
And now all this is happening. He doesn't have the connections that Pete does, that the Garretts do.
That's true.
It's almost like he's going there blind.
Little bit. And, he doesn't, at least RJ has a little bit of, I'm not sure how much hospital training, internship sort of, but at least he has a little bit of that capacity where if in an emergency. But yeah, as a teacher, but he's driven, not by necessarily what he can bring to the table, except for the fact that he is just driven by the fact he wants to find his husband at whatever cost. I need to be involved. I need to be out there. I need to be doing this because otherwise he'd be going stir crazy. So he's driven by love.
He is. He's driven by love. And, they find out at the very end of the episode, Pete finds out that the private jet that Adam owns landed in Puerto Rico.
Yes. And, I do appreciate them laying the groundwork, not only because I admit the whole, characters being held captive, getting kidnapped on days, they've had arcs in the past where it's just been these big elaborate, kidnappings and families winding up on this island and trying to get off this island and trying to find their way, home after being. So we're getting that soapy trope, but at least we're getting explanation. Like, this is the jet and we are tracking it and we are going to figure out exactly where it is going to land. It's not like it's just like a plane that someone just happens to have it. They're like at least setting up plausibility and setting it up so that it's a little more grounded, so to speak. I appreciate them putting in the details. Like, we're going to track this plane and we're going to use government resources to figure out exactly its flight path and where exactly it's going, rather than just, them being abducted by some random, private. It's just, I don't know. It felt a little bit like they were paying attention to the details and just being like, this.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about the Bay is that Gregory Martin is phenomenal when it comes to not only the details, but also kind of bringing the soap genre into the next generation, because we see a lot of better technology than the Salem PD or the Port Charles PD have, when it comes to the other soaps that their cops are bumbling idiots at times.
Right.
But you look at Bay City PD and they're tracking it with the federal resources. Exactly. They're getting Jensen and extraditing him back to the U.S.
Right.
And, they're working with real national, or international law enforcement to actually get who they got. We may not see Steve Jensen until next season, but at the same time, Pete and team have the way to get, to go after Adam and to track him instead of well, we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah. No, they definitely there's explanation. It's rooted in, some looser, it's rooted in reality as much as you can
Yeah.
have soapy, melodrama, which rather than just it being conveniently explained away. Oh yeah, he just got away on his private jet to the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
We don't, it's a grounded location. We know where they're going. We know that even Nardo hinting at like his detective friend that's there.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that, them bringing in a new character. We haven't seen this guy before, but the way that they're setting that up, it's just so seamless. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
On the
he's
other
got
side,
ties
we're
to
introduced to
Bay
a new character, a new detective. What's his story?
he's got ties to Bay City. He was a Bay City police detective until he went back to Puerto Rico to be home, and
Right.
now he's down there. So it ties in seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a soap trope to bring in somebody else that has, bring in a new character that has roots already laid down. But the way they're doing it is just phenomenal. It's not somebody out of their past. It's not
It's
like,
not
oh, well,
just some guy showing up in the
right.
nick of time when they're on the, just explained away by, oh, I just happen to be around in the no, they're establishing this character now, so we get, we can be curious about him. We can try and figure out what his deal is. The way they blend in these characters just so effortlessly. It shows just the quality of the writing, because otherwise it's just so easy to just explain how there's this detective on the island that's really, really good. But no, he's twined in with Bay City, he's twined in with Nardo, and now we're going to find out more about him. So,
yes,
good stuff.
Exactly. All right. So let's see. Let's move on. What else happened in the episode?
Well, we had that really killer Avery scene with Dr. Campbell, which the acting in that scene, my goodness, you can see obviously Avery is in deep, deep pain and mourning and grief stricken, because obviously she just lost her boyfriend. Sarah's the hospital. She's reeling from everything, and now everything happened with Evan. But the fallout of that in that scene alone, that should have won her an award, for crying out loud. Just such a well done scene there. And her just saying how.
Yeah. Alicia Lee Willis, who, for those of you who are new to the Bay, she used to play Courtney on General Hospital, who was Sonny Corento's sister. But in my opinion, she is more known, at least in my eyes, for being Avery Garrett on the Bay. She did phenomenal, and you could feel the emotion.
Yes.
That's one of the things I gauge acting performances on, is whether it's wrestling or drama or comedy, or when somebody's really getting into the feeling of everything, the deep subjects. I want to be able to feel the emotion. I can, with the dialogue and the conversation that happened between Dr. Campbell, who played by Ray Al Andrews, who I love.
He's great. He's so great.
He absolutely is. But to have Ray Al Andrews come in, and he's a phenomenal actor as it is. So putting them across the table from each other. And in that dynamic where he's the doctor, the chief of staff, she's the nurse on the floor, and the way that she says, "No, I appreciate you looking out for me, but I'm going to keep working because there are patients that need me. My family, I need to help my family and my other patients."
Yeah.
And she admitted that she was wrong for telling Evan that,
No, she owned the fact that the timing, but she also explained too that she wanted who was closest to Evan or to Damien to know. She needed that. She needed to be with someone else who could, relate and be on that same level, because obviously, as his brother, she needed that, moment, but realized that she took it at the wrong time, but it was such a, in comparison to, the build up to all the action that we're going to be seeing in the next episode. We had a moment where the characters can just kind of be in this emotional sort of place, because the fallout from Damien, being, I appreciate that hasn't gone away. It's like, we haven't forgotten that detail. Like, they twine it back to it. They make us remember that a very significant character of the show is gone now. And they don't lose that beat. And we had a really, just grounded, really raw scene come from it. And I just thought it was so well acted and so well done. And definitely, because I wasn't familiar with her work on GH, but I know her as Avery. And
Right.
yeah, no, she was killing it. And she just even looked the part, just so just like, just exhausted and reeling, but still determined to be there. It's just, you felt it in that moment. So
you're exactly right. And I am loving the way that this is going. And this is what soap operas were meant to be, to make you feel, the drama is there. The drama is there, but I don't know. I would love to, because what I think is missing from modern soap operas is they go so fast with the filming that, and the fact that they do, like, everything is done out of order, which, okay, that happens. That's non-linear editing. I get that. But sometimes that takes away from how an actor feels emotion in the scene. Because if they're filming something that's directly after some big revelation, some big whatever, but yet they haven't filmed that big reveal yet, they haven't filmed that big catastrophe or whatever, a great actor will be able to convey that no matter what. I'm not saying that they can't. But I do feel like only a one and done style of filming, you don't really get that deep emotion, that deep feeling from a scene, from a dialogue, the way that the Bay, because it's done differently, because it's done in 10 episode seasons as opposed to daily, 200 episodes a year, they're able to film more, they're able to get the feeling, the emotion out of it. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
No, they get to live in this emotional beat for a longer amount of time. And I feel like that's harkening back to when scenes were longer and it wasn't as, obviously, soap filming style has, just in terms of the amount of like the scene length that you see on soaps now versus like the 80s, late 80s, 90s even.
Yes.
The scenes are a lot shorter and they shoot them not as consecutively as you said. Yeah. And I feel like that definitely, but they used to be able to have like those emotional fallout sort of moments. And it wasn't just in reaction to something. It was like, okay, we had this really significant event happen. Now we're going to have these characters kind of own in on it and break it down for us. Right. And it's not just like them filling in because, we need to know the story. It's like, no, they're taking a moment to deal with the repercussions of whatever's happened. And they're taking a beat to just kind of show the emotion and show that and let the actors show their stuff. But they have a moment to breathe and live in that with the Bay way that they shoot it versus now where I feel like, okay, we'll have a big kind of crazy arc, but we don't really get to see, well, if anything, we'll see characters kind of describing it, but we don't really get to see them react to it unless it's like a very significant thing, like, I don't know, on Days with the John Black, scenes where it's something where everyone is just emotionally raw and it comes into play with, it's like the writing only lends itself to that in certain ways, I feel like, on current shows, whereas the Bay, it's kind of the exception, whereas they have the ability to just kind of let these actors show their stuff, shine, to react, to have these characters react in ways that make sense, that are grounded, that are real, that just tug at us, because that seemed like that tugs at you. And it's just a testament to the really, powerful acting and writing on this. And just the way that it's geared at, just trying to bring in that audience again, because I got to tell you, those longer scenes and living in those characters, that's when you get invested in the character almost, when you get to see them just having like those raw moments and you're just like, oh my gosh, Avery, like, honey, I want to give you a hug right now. It's like,
well, that's what it is, because we may not be able to specifically relate to any of the characters based on, the way they live their lives or whatever. But what we can do is we could relate to the situations that are happening that were, not everybody, thank God, not everybody in this world has experienced a major kidnapping from a, deranged identical twin.
Yes.
Not, thank God.
Most of us have been spared that really,
right.
that type of situation. Yeah.
But the way that Christos and Mike Manning and, forgive me, I can't, RJ's portrayer,
yes.
and Alicia Lee Wills and Tristan Rogers. God, seeing him and seeing
even
Tristan
in the
Rogers
shorter scenes, in the shorter moments, you just wanted to again give the man a hug when he's sitting at Sarah's bed, and even old school cop, just who never doesn't seem like he would have the patience for like a cosmic connection or anything like that, or like the psychic sort of thing. Just you wouldn't think that he would, but he's so desperate, and he just looks at, I need to find out who did this. I need you to kind of tap into this so that I can, accomplish my mission of going after these bastards. Just the fact that he's dialing into that even just shows that he's just totally raw and needs to, avenge Sara and needs to get to the bottom of this. And even the fact that he's willing to tap into Sophia's, psychic medium abilities, and he takes it with, he's so serious when he says it. He's not like laughing off or writing. And it just shows that he is just so desperate to get Sara back. I kind of thought, actually, I'd forgotten that he was trying to get to the bottom of, exactly who shot her with using Sophia. I thought he was going to be like, tap into Sarah's subconscious for me and figure out where her head, where her soul is at. I kind of thought that's where the scene was going for a split second, but even so, him just sitting like lying there with the blood all over his shirt still, and he's just that
and
man.
It's like the way that it's shot, the way that it plays out. These episodes, as we said, have been very, very short episodes, like literally 20-minute episodes. But the way that everything is being witnessed is seriously one of the things. Like one of the things that I really like about the way that Gregory Martin produces this, directs this, is it almost feels like I never watched the show, but I know what the premise is. 24, where you're living the show in real time. And it's the whole season is 1 24-hour day, apparently.
Yes.
And the way that the Bay is directed and written is similar to that, because this is now, 3 episodes in from season finale of last year. And they're still in the same clothes. They're still in the same kind of situation. And it really feels like the 20 minutes that we're watching are the 20 minutes that are currently happening as we're watching.
It didn't even occur to me, but you're absolutely right. And a show that also does that currently, that does the similar sort of span of 24 hours. We're going to show the course of the Pit on HBO. It's another one that is, just same kind of format where it's just going to show these characters going through the span, and, it's in a hospital setting, and it's phenomenal. But I'm sorry.
Before you move on, speaking of the Pit, for those of you who are General Hospital fans, Jeff Kober, who played Cyrus Renaud, just landed a role on the Pit.
Oh, wow.
And it's, I believe it's a long-term contract role. But he is going to be, he does have a role on the Pit upcoming. So I just want to give him props for that.
An amazing show, but you're absolutely right in that and 24 just kind of showing that sort of span of, like, we're still in the fallout mode of everything that happened. Right. But given how serious and widespread the situation is, and how it's this big umbrella, I appreciate that they're letting us live there. They're letting us stay in that space where we're still seeing, like, the hospital, the ramifications of these characters being shot. These characters are in comas. We have a baby that's just been born. We have a woman who's just been kidnapped. And we're seeing, like, all of that play out over. It's not just abbreviated to one episode. And then it's like, go off on our big action adventure and go, like, show the Puerto Rico stuff and show the, what have you. We're not diving in there just yet. We still get a chance to kind of catch our breath with these characters and also get ready for our journey, like the journey that Pete's kind of getting set on.
We did get a brief couple scenes with Frankie and Reagan. And Reagan. Yeah, Reagan and Frankie, and they were FaceTiming with Xander.
Yes.
About everything that's been going on.
Funny little, that dialogue just felt so natural and real. For teenagers being written on a show, sometimes you see it where there's a little. They try and spice it up and make them seem like they're like, no, that felt like an actual conversation you'd see like three, teenage characters sort of, in the midst of and having. It felt very natural. And the Puerto Rico discussion about, Puerto Rico is actually, it's been around since, you need to get caught up on your American history.
Yeah.
Just that moment, but even them getting a chance to just kind of react to everything, and it's kind of reminding us of everything that's happened in the through the lens of these teenagers just reacting to it. But when they were rattling off like all the people that had been, it's just like, yeah, all of that did happen, as they're like saying, well, the DA was shot and so, just everything.
And I felt so bad for the little girl who had to hear it over FaceTime that something
happened. But the way that they did that was so, what better way to like, create that layer and create that drama. And now this girl knows that, and it's becoming aware through that.
It's very real that could happen, because I forget the little girl's name, forgive me. But Anna. She walks in on Xander and having the FaceTime conversation with them. And as opposed to something that we just saw on GH yesterday was, Trina finding out that her mother is pregnant, and it's only because her two family members were talking out loud in the, like it's supposed to be a secret, and yet they're talking out loud right in the living room. And it's like something that's completely contrived.
Yeah.
It turns out where this happens. And like you said, with the different soap tropes that they bring into the Bay, the way it's executed is so much different, but also so much more real.
Yes. Because it's still a way to get from point A to point B. She finds out about, the truth about Evan. She finds it out within that moment. But rather than it being characters that are, big secret, but we're just going to talk about it in an open space. And it's like, we see that on Days too. We'll have it where characters are having like this, conversation at the Brady pub, and they think nobody can hear them. All of a sudden, so-and-so just happens to walk in right in the nick of time. It's like, you're at a public restaurant. What do you expect to have happen? Whereas with this, it totally makes sense that you would walk in on like, tail end of this conversation and want to know more. And then it just spins off into this direction. We get to, it was a short scene, but it said a lot. And it also just kind of lent us back to Dre, correct? Right. And having, because that storyline, it's easy to kind of see that fall by the wayside because it was a plot point, but they're not like the main, core Garrett sort of action, all of that. But, it was a secondary storyline that could have easily just kind of been like kind of cast aside in favor of showing everything else. But no, they're going to make a point of just twining that back in now and learning a little bit more about Dre even in that scene, because when Xander brings up like your daddy issues, don't bring those up around, or bring your daughter into that, or what are you doing bringing your daughter into that? It's like, now we find out another piece about Dre, all in like a just very short little, but just the fact that they managed to accomplish all that in just a brief little sequence that just felt very grounded, very natural.
Exactly.
Kudos to them, because sometimes, in order to get that much plot development, you see it happen in clunkier ways.
Absolutely. And this segue is going to be a little clunky, but if you're having daddy issues, I know somebody that you could talk to.
Are you having problems in the bedroom? Are you having problems with your sex life? Well, I know just who to talk to, and that's Lori. CoachingByLori.com is where you could set up voice, video, or text sessions to talk about sex, to talk about intimacy, kinks, fetishes, taboos, fantasies, or your sexuality. You could talk about coming out and what to expect when you come out. Lori is a sex therapist and talks about your sexual health. Lori's offering all new clients 20% off their first session with the coupon code WELCOME. That's Coaching by Lori, LORIE.com. Coupon code WELCOME, WELCOME, for 20% off your first session.
All right, and yes, if you're looking for someone to talk to about your life in the bedroom, give Lori a text or sign up for a session because you save some money there. But yes, that's what it is the way that we're finding out more about the characters. Because you're right, it was just one little sequence. We find out that Xander and Reagan and Frankie are FaceTiming, and their grandmother, they want to take them out of Bay City because the Garretts are being targeted apparently, and of all places they're going to go to Puerto Rico. It's like that's where the whole epicenter of this thing is. Anyways,
a little foreshadowing, but I appreciate that. It's like we're heading to Puerto Rico, guys. We're going to talk about it at the top. And then we're going to, bring it in with, setting up for that, next chapter. Again, just a seamless way to go about doing it.
Exactly. But I think we kind of hit all the beats.
I think so too.
It was a fantastic episode. I mean, our shows, breaking it down, have been going longer than the actual episodes themselves.
True. That's true. But we have a lot of gushing we have to do about it. So therefore.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Well, remember, folks, tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be sitting down to talk to Mike Manning, who plays Caleb on this episode, on this show, The Bay. And this season seems to be very Caleb heavy, so Mike Manning will be in the episodes going forward for the duration. He also plays Smitty on Beyond the Gates, as well as some previous roles on Days of Our Lives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. No, it'll be very exciting to get a chance to bend his ear about the Bay and Beyond the Gates and just everything that he's been working on. It'll be super, super cool. And I'm really, really, fingers crossed, my schedule aligns and I'll be able to be a part of it.
Yes. And as always, if you like what we're doing, if you want to support the show, go ahead and give us a super chat or a super thanks. Something, either way, that money that you do donate, that you do utilize to support us, you can go ahead and do that, and it goes directly into our production. It goes to our production value. It goes into stuff for the show. It's not necessarily a salary. It's to support us. So I want to thank you for doing that and tell you that if you want sports, go right ahead. Also, you can go ahead and buy our merch. Yes. Go to merch.suds-media.com, and I do have to show you. I got one of these guys here. And if you can see them, I've got one of our Suds and Squirt Circle Media Cuddle Buddy teddy bears. So go ahead. You can pick this guy up with any of our logos, whether it's Dockside, Suds News, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And anything that you'd like. I do want to kind of give you a caveat. I did find out that the dog bandanas, as we said, that if you're going to buy a dog bandana with any of our logos or the Doggy Cuddle Buddy with any of our logos, the proceeds will go towards Samantha's Friends. That's still in effect. However, I do want to let everybody know the dog bandanas are the same as the human bandanas. So if your dog doesn't like, to have a cape on them, or they're like a little chihuahua or teacup, they probably won't, it'll probably be bigger than them. But I do want to let you all know that. But yes, go to merch.suds-media.com, pick up, a shirt, a hat, a sweater, anything, a hoodie, some jackets. There's a whole bunch of stuff up there. You could even get a Santa hat with our logo on it as well. So
many cool things. Go and check it out.
Yes, go check it out.
Leading up to Christmas time. Hey, we got, gift giving, all sorts of, check it out and see if you can find some cool stuff for the holiday season to gift upon friends.
Exactly. And if you're looking for a stocking, we have those too. So go to merch.suds-media.com and buy what you want. There is a selection of items right here on our YouTube channel, but for the full effect, go to merch.suds-media.com. Also, folks, if you're looking for some energy as you're playing games or as you're watching us or doing anything else you need energy, go to w.gg. and use promo code Suds Media for 10% off your purchase. It is jitterless energy from the coffee fruit extract, and it's just a natural form of caffeine for you. They also have hydration drinks, so check those out. I like the watermelonada hydro blend hydration, but either way, if you're an energy drink person, go for the clean stuff. Go for that's DUBBY.GG. Promo code Suds Media for 10% off your purchase. As always, if you're looking for some holiday fudge for people and you're in the Connecticut area and can meet up with What the Fudge homemade confections, she has now started making biscotti as well. So
Biscotti.
yes, so check that out. She is doing it under cottage license, so of course she cannot ship, but there are going to be drop-off points around Connecticut. Just check her Facebook page, facebook.com/whatthefudgeCT, and she'll have her upcoming schedule where she will be over the next couple of weeks right there on that Facebook page. And also whatthefudgect.com as well, for a list of what she has in her products. All right, so Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I am Misfit8690 on Twitter / Instagram, and a Little Misfit 52 on YouTube. So feel free to hit me up there to chat about soaps or whatever strikes your fancy.
Absolutely, and you can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Vinny Suds. At Suds Media is our Twitter network name. I'm usually on there. I'll switch back and forth, but I'll usually post from the at Suds Media. If you're looking on Instagram or Threads, it's at Suds and Squared Circle. TikTok is at Suds_media, so check that out. Follow us there as well, because I'm going to be starting to do TikTok pre-shows. So whether it's Suds News or Real American Freestyle, I might be doing some watch-alongs on there. But we also do the watch-alongs on our Discord, on our Gimmick Table Media Discord as well. So either way, there's a lot of places to catch us, and thank you again for all of your support.
Yes.
For Kim, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next week as we go dockside at the Bay. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, everyone.